Yeah, well, let's talk a bit more about that, because there was an exclusive in the Australian newspaper today revealing the details of a campaign called the Muslim Vote. Now, it's a campaign headed by a PhD candidate at Western Sydney University, Sheikh Wessam Chakawari. So I've completely mucked up the gentleman's name. Wessam Chakawari, I think. I'm not even close, but he's at Sydney University. I'll just move on from his name. He's aiming to oust pro-Israel MPs and install them with pro-Palestinian ones. Now, Garth, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, 29 federal seats have 5% or more people of Islamic faith, and 27 of those 29 are held by Labor MPs. Does that explain why Labor is so pro-Palestinian?
I would hate to say yes. I'm afraid that is the answer. And I think this is a terrible day for Australian democracy. You know, a long, long time ago, centuries ago, we separated church from state in Western democracies. And we did so for a very good reason. So we could all get together and all work as one towards the betterment of our nations. I think this is a very, very sad precedent if we're going to see religious groups really target in a very direct and confrontational way the democratic process. And yes, I do suspect that there are a lot of Labor MPs looking over their backs, counting those numbers in their electorates. And I'd be very, very sad to think that that's what's driving their decision-making when it comes to whether they support Israel or not.
Well, Caroline, religious people have a right as much as anybody else to vote as they wish, but it does raise questions about multiculturalism and how multiculturalism then affects national policy when citizens start voting more about overseas issues than domestic. And secondly, is this good news for the Greens?
Oh, I'm not necessarily sure whether it's good news for the Greens, because while obviously they're incredibly pro-Palestine, if you look at everything else that's in the Greens manifesto, it's very socially progressive, which I don't think will necessarily align, even though there might be that alignment on that one geopolitical issue. But it does talk to a broader issue. And there was a great piece actually a couple of weeks ago in The Australian, Paul Kelly, talking about, you know, we have seen this dispute, this overseas dispute, see a splintering of our values in this country. And that's why, you know, we've always talked about multiculturalism, but, you know, maybe the point that is more important is, no, actually we need to have a more unified culture, even though we're obviously multiracial. We have to all be here for similar values and for similar reasons. And I think this does point to a broader issue, but this is not the first time it's poked its head up. I mean, if you go back and you look at the same-sex marriage vote from 2016, these same seats were the seats in the country which voted most heavily no. And I'm assuming that Labor thought that they could keep tabs on it and it wasn't going to become an existentialist electoral issue for them. But, you know, we're less than 10 years down the track and maybe it is.